I hope everybody has taken the registration form. Whoever has not, kindly take the registration, and we are going to start off in a minute's time. So about the training program today, as you all know that today's training program is on project supply chain management, and we are very thankful to Swarup Mukherjee sir for taking the session for us today. So today what we are going to learn in the session is how the definition of supply chain, and then we are going to see how integrations and processes are managed across supply chain. Then we are going to view the cycle of supply chain from customer order to procurement cycle, and then how the push and pull view of supply chain works, and which up till which end is the push and up till what end is the pull. And then we are going to understand that how it is related to the operations and the different operating plan supply chain systems that are these days. And thereupon we are also going to see that how the exchanges are aligned with businesses, and what is the relation between these two, and how on time and ongoing partnerships work in the realm of supply chain, the relationship with of intensity with supply chain management capabilities of the suppliers, and the various phases of supply chain, from preparation to assessment of relationships that we have with the suppliers, and some examples of how cost cutting helps or not helps supply chain processes, and especially the EPC value chain of how SCM works, some ground realities that we are going to see, and thereafter the uncertainties there which are associated with supply chain, and the cost effectiveness versus the responsiveness of the entire process, with some examples from the world leaders, and how do we manage these uncertainties, and how the demand chain concept is built around supply chain, and the logistics management, and how do you integrate logistics with the entire module of supply chain, and what is the role of lead logistic providers that we have, and issues that we can look for the proper supply chain management in projects. We will encourage everybody to ask questions as much as you can. And after the session is over, we are going to share the presentation with all of you so that you can, revise the concepts before you take the post training assessment. And I'll request everybody after the training is over to please go ahead and take post session assessment. So if we have taken the pre-session assessment, Sudhanshu, welcome. Please take the pre-session assessment, Sudhanshu. And I think we can start with that. Sarup sir, if you are here.
Yeah, you are able to hear us?
Yes.
Hear me actually? I am able to
Yes.
hear you. All of,
Yes, sir.
good afternoon to all of you. Mm,
পয়সা তো লাগবে না, স্যালারি তো হয়নি, কালকেই বলেছিলাম আমি আপনাকে।
Sudhanshu, mute.
let me, is it visible?
Sir, can you please hide that hide bar?
I will hide the hide bar.
Yes,
Correct.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Now it is
Sir, we
perfectly
also
visible.
want to see our video, sir, so that we can see the expressions.
No, video I think will become a problem to the extent I will open for the time being, but
Yeah, for the time
we
being,
need
will be
to close it because that will become a bigger problem for this one. Hi,
hello.
I am not sure how you are seeing or not seeing.
Yes, sir, we
You are
can see.
able to see me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And also
Hi.
PPT.
Hi. Good afternoon again to all of you for taking time. We will discuss about the supply chain today. Many of you may be aware of it to a great extent, but many of you, there will be some refreshment of the various ideas that what you have already taken, already know, and go with it. Let us go with that process, and we will see how this helps your understanding and how this helps the organization going forward to implement some of these concepts what we will be discussing. Something may be relevant, something may not be relevant at this point, but knowing is important for all of us to improve our knowledge, and which may help in many cases. Okay. So first we started with the what is the supply chain definition. So these are very standard definitions which are available. One by the Institute of Supply Management and Supply Chain Management. Another is the Supply Chain Council. These are supposed to be the prime bodies which handles this. Design and management of seamless value-added process across organizational boundaries to meet real need of the end customer. Just understand that it is a design and management of the entire process across organization boundaries. This is very important. Supply chain management is not limited to own organization. It is limited. It goes starts from the basic suppliers, ends with the customer to the end customer. So that is very important process. Supply chain doesn't mean purchase, which probably most of us will understand. It is not the organization only how it is handling. It is handling the complete value chain, starting from the basic suppliers, then to the secondary suppliers, and it is ultimately to the customer. This is the one of the definition. Another is managing supply and demand, sourcing of raw material and parts, manufacturing and assembly, warehousing, inventory tracking, order entry, order management, distribution, and delivery to the customer. This definition also, in my opinion, though it mentions nearly all the parts of the system, still to some extent there are further improvements to this is possible. The first definition is more holistic in nature, and here it is giving all the detailed parts are named properly. That is about it in this case. Okay, and what is the aim of the entire thing? Right material at right place at right time. That is the aim of the entire supply chain definition, supply chain system. That means it is available for all. That is for all. It is across the boundaries, the right material at right place and at right time. This is not limited to one organization. If you have captured this, we go to the next the place. So basically, I think next one will clarify this. Is it visible now? This is a very standard process which is available. You will get in any supply chain management. This is a fundamental principle which is mentioned. You see, in the beginning on the arrow, you can, if you can see, this is a product flow line. It is going from this side to this side. It is going like this. Where it is going? There is a tier 2 supplier. Then from the tier 2 supplier, which is basically the raw material suppliers, from there the semi-finished products comes into this, or their finished products, they are made into that, and then these are used in the entire manufacturing process. What is the manufacturing process? This is primarily built around manufacturing companies thinking. The entire supply chain management process actually was built based on manufacturing process system. Like in the previous discussion we have mentioned, the entire project management system has been built around the owner's process of doing the project, not by the project manager. Like in the supply chain also, the basic concepts of thinking were built around the manufacturer manufacturing something and giving to the customer. That is how the whole system has been originally built upon. Now in the manufacturer cases, we have these kind of separations. Like there is a purchasing department, there is a logistic department, there is a marketing and sales department, production, R&D, finance. All departments are working within the silo of manufacturer. Then it is going to the customer, and again customer, whoever is buying, may not be using it, and it is ultimately going to the end user. So this is the whole area. Now, for doing that, the entire supply chain process covers from the beginning, that supply chain business processes starting from the supplier to tier to supplier up to the end user, where there is a customer relationship management involved. It is not only from where we are buying, that is, purchasing department may be buying from the tier 1 supplier, but many times our requirement of management may go to the tier 2 supplier. Like the tier 1 supplier has not procured the right steel. Various examples are available. For say some of the cases we buy the PEB structures, and there are a lot of issues on that recent past. There are various issues. They have not used the right kind of steel. Have we gone back and checked into that? So it is not only this fellow's problem, also this fellow's problem. So we have to start managing from the last supply, last or raw material manufacturer. We may not specify exactly the raw material, but we need to look at the entire process to establish the proper supply. Like in the case, then in our case, manufacturing portion does not to that extent arise in the case of project. So that's why project supply chain is little different from the supply chain. Whole intent of this discussion is to first give an idea about the supply chain, then go into the specific requirement of project supply chain and how do we tackle what are the specific ways of handling on the project supply chain. But before we go to the project supply chain, it is necessary that we delve a little into what is meant by the supply chain, particularly those who are little newer in the organization or little newer in the experience. They may not be aware that the actual meaning of the supply chain starts from the tier 2 supplier to the end user. The entire management is the part of the supply chain management. Now, what does it have? It has the customer service management. That is at this side you have the customer, so you have to manage there. Demand management is the customer demand management. You have to give the customer demand management. Order fulfillment starts from this one. Demand management starts at this end, consumer end user, for all practical in holistic basis. Now, whereas in the customer care, in the case of this order fulfillment, it starts here. Who is the customer? Manufacturing flow management is inside manufacturing flow. That is, whatever manufacturing flow is happening, for there has to be, all material has to be there so that you can manufacture. Supplier relationship management works in this side. What is the suppliers and their relation, so that you get the material for manufacturing. Product development and commercialization is another process along with the marketing department, which also ultimately goes to the customer and the end user. Sometimes customer do not know what they want, so then sometimes products get developed and then you make the customer aware that this is what you want. So that also happens, particularly on IT and all the kind of development. People never knew this is possible. It got developed and then it is commercialized. All the mobile phones, that things, whatever we are using. Another is returns management. This is also an important component. That is, consumer end users sometimes they make a return of the item. It happens in various cases. Those return of this one, and handle this and tackle it up to some extent, how this is to be handled. So this entire gamut, starting from the original manufacturer to the tier 1 supplier, then to manufacture this item with the help of all raw materials and semi-finished goods, then to the customer, and then finally going up to the end user, is also the part of the supply chain management. And what is holding it together is at the top, the information flow. That is, when the consumer wants it, when the customer wants it, when the manufacturer wants it, what is the quality. The entire information flow is managing and holding this entire process together. So that's what we get back to this design and management of seamless value-added process across organizational boundaries to meet real needs of end customer. So this is what is specified here. Real needs of end customer is here. This is one organization, this is one organization, this is another organization, this is another organization, this is another organization. So supply chain management is cutting across all the organizations and ultimately satisfying the need of this person. Also managing the needs of all others. Okay. Now, this is another view which is called a cycle view of supply chain. Quite simple to understand. There is a customer order cycle. Always customer gives an order, you supply, and then another order comes, then customer gives another order and you supply. So one cycle goes on with the help of customer, this one. In this case, there is a retailer has been put, say in the case where this is something is manufactured to stock, and then you manufacture this, give it to the retailer, retailer's stock ends, so then ask for the replenishment, then the replenishment stock again comes, and this goes on a cycle. Then distributor goes on a cycle like this on the same manner, the manufacturer goes on the cycle on the same manner, and the procurement cycle also goes along with the supplier. That is, one item is supplied, ended, then you ask for another cycle, and another, this one is ended. Most of the time the purchase function in the project ends at this, the procurement cycle. Then we do not to a great extent get affected on this one directly. This portion is handled in case of project, this one is by BD department is handling the customer order cycle, and procurement department is handling the procurement process. These two to a great extent does not exist in the project the supply chain systems. So it is pretty simpler to that extent, much lesser complicated. Okay. Now this is the push-pull view. Push-pull view is also pretty simple to understand. Again, customer order cycle is something which is pulling it. Whenever the customer order comes in, the supply chain gets activated, so it gets pulled. And what is getting procured, the what is in case of manufacturing, procurement, manufacturing, replacement cycle makes the push. So this is an overall understanding of the supply chain basics, which is not our fundamental concept today for discussion, but this is an essential understanding before we start the basic concept of project supply chain. Okay, here I come. Let us, you read that project supply chain is a major determinant of project time, schedule, and consequent cost. There is no doubt about with anybody of you that is the main pillar. It is different from operating plant supply chain in a sense that repetitiveness is not the major focus. In case of operativeness for operating plant, what happens? You need to buy the same item for operating plant produces practically the same item. Maybe a car production, they are manufacturing and buying the same, they are buying the same seat material and same components and same tires and making the car. Or say our Himadri Chemical, they are going on buying the coal tar and the CVFS and manufacturing the this. So continuously repetitive buying is happening. Or any other plant which is a manufacturing business. In case of project, that repetitive buying is not the focus. Supply chain and logistics are major determinants of project execution methodology and taken into consideration from the design stage. That is, from the basic thinking of the project, this is considered. Like in this case also, project, what does it mean for the physical projects what we are doing? Say any large project, when it comes up, people have to decide about the basic suppliers and something. Their logistics are very, very critical. So many times in large components like your turbines or the major boiler drums, etc., for a power plant, when it used to come, these are all imported, and many times it is imported. It comes over there, and then from the seaport, how it to be reaching to these internal places. Even smaller project has these problems, like the columns, etc., gets manufactured at remote location. It comes by barge. It comes by great logistics issues. So that is a integral part of that. Now here comes the basic difference of the project supply chain and the operational supply chain. Supply chain focus of project is one of a kind. Project is, as a concept, project means what? It is a time bound unique activity which has to be, it is a time bound and unique activity. Whereas operation is not a time bound unique activity, it is a repetitive activity. So supply chain focus of project is one of a kind, supply chain focus of operation is repetitive. Okay. Logistic driver of project is demand chain management. Operation is supply chain management. What does it mean? Any operating plant primarily is looking at the manufacturing same item and we are supplying in the market as long as the market price is quite okay. Plus minus fluctuation doesn't vary much. That operating plant goes on manufacturing and supplying. Unless if there is a price wise problem on the market sale, then they change the product. So it is always they are primarily manufacturing the same item and supply. So it's a supply chain system. In case of project, it's a demand chain management. That means whenever the project happens and there is a demand of this particular thing comes up, then on that demand we supply that item. So it is a demand chain management, is the logistic driver. Organization process, in case of project, it is agile process. That means it has to change frequently, it has to adapt to the changing circumstances, and it will be different from every different time. And in operation, what is that? It has to be same process, so that it should not be, it has to be a lean operation so that it can become a cost effective operation. So that becomes the focus there, so that there is no interruption. And service quality, it says that service quality for operation is robust, so that there is no interruption. Why? In case there is a lot of rain or flood or whatever, then still the material has to reach. Operating plant has to work. So it has to be very robust. That means it should not, the supply chain should not get impacted by small differences in the systems on the overall areas. If there is any problem, that should be able to tackle it. So it has to be a robust system. In the case of project, it has to be resilient system. Resilient means something, it may suddenly fail. No, this is not the process by which it can be done. It has to be handled in some other way. This always happens. So it has to come back again. There may be disruptions, but it has to come back again. So that is what is the project service quality. And operation service quality, it cannot get disrupted. Project service quality, we can improve upon the service quality by remaining resilient. There can be delays, etc. This is something which is commonly understood. About 50 to 75% project cost are covered by the by debt. That is always correct. Project supply chain, and because of the debt, the supply chain becomes very, very important. That all the money spent on the supply chain is always under close radar of the banking community, which is the fundamental funding they are doing for the project. As I think in the previous discussion, we told that all projects done is about 75% of the project cost is made by the bankers who lend money for the project, and so that they can get the return. So out of that, supply chain remains the biggest focus. So people are very concerned about the supply chain whenever the project funding happens. Okay. Now we discuss about the how do we manage the suppliers in the project supply chain. As I told, project is a unique activity. Suppliers are also expected to be unique. Theory is that. However, this proposition does not hold good for a project company. where the portfolio is handled. Like in our case, we handle many projects. So it is a portfolio of projects which we handle. In such cases, supplier management model need to be tweaked, because it is not necessary this is only one time we are buying for this item from the project. So that becomes another challenge, because the basic theory it says project supply chain is a unique supplier for the unique project, and then we don't have any requirement from that. But those companies which are handling a portfolio like ours, this whole concept is also challenged. Okay. There are primarily, we are now discussing the two basic management models of supplier handling. One is arm's length model, another is partnership model. What is the arm's length model? That means the supplier is, this is, you have heard Michael Porter's name. I think those who goes through little bit of management books, he is called the father of modern marketing management. He also has delved into this particular portion of the supply chain, and he had that point of time made this concept of arm's length model of supplier management very, very popular. It is very popular in US. What is the method is, we don't have any relations with the supplier. They have to give the item as per the quality, time, cost specified, and we will take it and pay it and matter over. It is arm's length operation. He puts the material in right time, cost, and we give him the money for the services and the materials provided. No relation, no discussion. That is called the arm's length model of supplier management. Now, what is the basic point is, if one fellow is not working properly, we go with another fellow who is having the similar property thing. They give us the flexibility, and we are not bothered if that fellow is failing. Go to hell. Then we go to another company who is successful, and we just buy on the arm's length model. So this is one process of procurement, very common in United States and very common in India also. Mostly in Indian operations also, people are trained to operate on the arm's length model of supplier management more than the partnership model. Partnership model, which I discussed in the next this one. In this case, supplier is taken as a partner. This is primarily popularized by Japanese auto giants like Toyota and Honda. Basic studies suggest that compared to arm's length relationship, this results in superior performance because partnering firms share more information and are better at coordinating interdependent tasks, invest in dedicated relation-specific assets which lower costs, improve quality and speed and product development. There are more trust to have the relationship and more efficient governance mechanism, and there is lower transaction cost. This Japanese management, you see, this has developed by the auto giants. All the auto flows needs a number of items to be procured from various sub vendors, because primarily the secondary level of component manufacturers are part and parcel of the auto companies, because every auto comes with many thousands of parts, and all are manufactured by different fellows who are specialists on that. So to make that, they have started this process not by buying from anybody on the arm's length relationship, but buying from specified partners for the specified item. So this relationship has, they know that they are going to buy from us. They develop the product shooting for the specific things. What is the basic advantage? Product development, because the cars always go on changing the model, so they have to make different little improvement here, little improvement there, so that goes on a continuous basis. For that, somebody is ready to invest along with the main car manufacturer, so they become a partner, they invest on their capacities for various particular component development, and they also become party to the success or failure of the specific model of car which comes in. They can always change, but in the process, this is okay. So in the process, they also learn how to become efficient and how to become suitable, and it is not necessarily for the one supplier they will be making that. So generally, so what is happening on the supply chain, there are basically two models what we discussed. This is a one time and discrete event is the arm's length event. This is what we are saying, is a one time and this is ongoing. The business is a one time business or ongoing business. We put on a scale which is business on one side and the exchange in one side. Now exchange in this case is discrete, only once, twice, by numbers, and the business requirement is a discrete requirement, arm's length operation, and he gives that. Another portion is a ongoing and relational business is a partnership model. These are the basic two types of supplier management system what is prevalent. Okay. Now, where do we go about it and why and when? All these points are very important to look at in the project supply chain scenarios. We go into the next, this one. So basically on the same, this one, what we say that what are the types of this thing? One is one time supplier, then comes the approved supplier, then comes the repetitive supplier, then it becomes the preferred supplier, then it becomes a manufacturing partner and the development partner. This is where the auto companies have gone for on the strategic partnership level. Okay. So here the relationship intensity is low and here the relationship intensity is high. Here the supply management capability requirement is low and here the supply management capability requirement is high. Why it is said high? Because there comes lot of information sharing to manufacture different parts, give it in time, give it in quality, all these kinds of these things comes in picture. So this has a supplier management requires huge amount of interactions at multiple levels. Is it clear? And in this case, the requirement of supplier interaction is limited to the purchasing point and not further. And relationship intensity automatically here it goes more and more. Okay. Now, is it becoming too boring? Nobody is responding anything. Hello. I think everybody is sleeping or what?
Oh no, sir. Everybody is listening very carefully.
Very difficult to understand without any support. Huh?
Hello.
So,
Everybody
Hello.
is there.
Hello.
everybody is there.
listening
Good,
very
good,
carefully, sir. I'm telling you.
good. So I take a 1 minute break because I am speaking so long. I will gulp a little bit of water and then speak again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So we are on this slide. So in the meantime, you have a look at this slide. Okay. So I'm back now. Okay. Now the what we are discussing is that how to manage the strategic partnership over time. First is we need to prepare. Then we need to identify potential partners. Then evaluate. We always do that. First send the inquiries to the vendors, and then find out from net or who are the other people possible. Then evaluate, get their offers, evaluate, and then select. Then go on pestering that what about the supply, what about the quality, what about the price, and when you are getting the payment, all this goes on happening, and then we continue to have the relationship. So what is for all that we need to prepare? What is the preparation? And in all stages what you have to do is something what we have mentioned. If you have gone through, then we have basically, we can start looking at the basic this one. I think this is very well understood by all. We gather, assign priorities, identify potential strategic partners, evaluate them, decide with the team, offer feedback. Now here these are something important that we go on making. For what to do, you send to engineering, give the comments on the technical offer, commercial, you go on putting that this is the payment terms not possible, this has to be done, that has to be done. So go on giving the feedback and all this at this stage. Then you establish a relationship. Then lot of documents goes on, quality document, engineering document, all these documents, approval, this that goes on. And then after that they supply, and we have the continued relations, and then you increase the relations in the better. So next time, okay, they will supply, they have been able to supply. So you establish the vendor selection and approval, this entire regular process which goes on doing that. Okay, then ultimately in case of a discrete case you end the relationship, and in case of a continuous case you continue with the relationship. Okay. This is what we are telling, that auto companies have been invested heavily on the supply chain and depends mainly on the success of strategic supplies for their success. Here also it is essential to take advantage or to shield from the cases of raw material price fluctuation and other competitive advantages by both the supplier and the purchaser to have equitable value in the relations. That means if the price increases, they cannot supply at the same price, which need to be well established from the before, and how these supplies, the changes will be absorbed by various suppliers, or the whoever is buying will absorb. All these matter needs to be clarified at the beginning stage. The contract needs to be very elaborate in the case of a relationship case. Not only the contract, also the trust need to happen, because contract cannot govern everything. There will be trust and all these things. People need to go, how much insurance people have taken, if that company fails then what will happen. All these scenarios will need to be looked at. Okay, so it's a very elaborate process to develop a choose a partner. It is as good as the company is marrying another company. So they have to choose it very carefully, like in your all of your individuals' lives. And then what will happen, it is to be chosen very carefully, and there has to be a lot of trust. But still occasionally that is also broken, so that problem happens. Like I don't know whether
Divorces happen.
like what will happen, one of the specific cases, very regular case is all the airbags of across the world for all major cars were replaced. They have all given defective to, starting from, there's one big company which I am forgetting the name, which was supplying SRS, all that airbags they give on the cars, no. So this, all the cars had got defective airbags, so which was found, it was a global massacre that happened. After that, majority of the car manufacturers have switched on to others, and all these issues have happened. Anyway, this happens one or the other cases. Now this comes whether this kind of partnership model is able to reduce this. One of the classic case Toyota has done is that CCC 21 is one program they have made, which has aims at 30% reduction in the prices of 170 parts that the company buys for the next generation of vehicles. So they are asking, when all the prices are increasing, they are asking 30% cost reduction. You know, as on time it is possible for nearly all manufactured goods. How can anybody suggest that how I am saying for all manufactured fabricated goods, 30% reduction of basic cost is possible. Somebody can say and give any of the methods that by which any manufacturing can achieve 30% reduction is a huge one. How it is possible? Any idea? Very fundamental idea. I will tell you. Keep it in your mind. Okay. So if required, write in the chat box. Deepsika, I will not be able to see the chat box. So let somebody write that what is the possible method of manufacturing or the fabrication or whatever by this they can easily reduce the cost to the extent of 30%. So that is a question left to this group. So let them people write, and you can go on saying whenever some of these things comes in, because I will not be able to see the chat box.
Sir, reduce the cost to 30.
Yes, in manufacturing or this position, it is possible, in my opinion.
Reduce the cost to 35%.
By 30%. That is, it will be 70% of the total.
Okay.
30% reduction in the price. That is what it is saying, no? As on time, it is saying Toyota has asked for it. And all.
Can we request the participants to please throw in some ideas?
Yeah, participants can write experience that how it is possible. How it is possible that 30% easily. I am saying even more than that is possible. I will tell you at the end of this one. Please remind me. I will tell you and we will be able to discuss about it. It is very much possible. Okay, so you go on writing on that.
Chakraborty writes Toyota assembled on the move to reduce cost.
Oh, that is okay. Assembled on the move to reduce cost is something what has been done by Dell and not by Toyota as on time. So Dell is basically just a good process, but that will not help you to reduce to the extent of 30%. There will be reduction for this. Dell has achieved huge reduction on this process.
Okay.
It's correct to some extent. Okay. Now, what is they have asked for this the very tall demand, but the vendors are not decrying that CCC 21 is unfair. Instead, they want to give Toyota the price reduction it sought. ऐसा भी होता है. Vendors is saying 30% कम में दे देगा. तुम बोल रहा है हम दे देगा. They believe Toyota will help them to achieve their target by making their manufacturing processes leaner, and because Toyota has Toyota's tough love, they will become more competitive and more profitable in the future. They are not only servicing Toyota, they are servicing other manufacturers also. They will make the huge profit. In case they are able to make Toyota components at 30% lower the cost, and they are actually able to make it, they will make windfall profit when selling to others. They will be much more competitive. Others will simply vanish if they are able to achieve this. So they are very happy that Toyota is asking for 30% reduction. How they will do? Okay, we will jointly work with Toyota. That is the trust on the supply chain of this kind of thing. Okay. Now we discussed about this.
How can we do it?
That is what I will discuss about it, how it is possible. Okay. Let the people answer, and then finally we will see about, we will throw some ideas, you know, on this, how it is possible. I took some training on the subject little bit before, just like that, because this is webinar time, no? So continuous webinars are happening. So I took one of such webinars.
Okay. KKB sir, BK sir, some idea. Okay. Now, what I am saying is the management of BKS is here. Yes.
BKS. Yes. Namaskaram. Yes. Okay. Okay. So,
নমস্কার খুব ভালো বলছেন চালিয়ে যান
আচ্ছা ভালো ভালো আপনাদের management of project supply chain. Now on this what I am coming is that basically we discussed about this. What is the durable arm's length relation? Another is strategic partnership. What is the We discussed that Toyota and Honda has specialized. What are the basic difference? In case of arm's length relationship, normally the product type, there is product type differentiation and the supplier management practice. We discussed about the supplier management practice. This is only tabulating these points. But on the product input circuits, it is important to understand, in case of arm's length relationship, we should buy only the standardized products. Steel kharid raha hai, standard steel you buy from SR, buy from Tata, buy from RINL, buy from this, all is the same. So you buy open architect product like your Android phones, Android, open architect. Now closed architect product means you go to Apple, there's a closed architect product. You cannot, it is not an open architect. Then standalone product, no, few interactions affect with other inputs. There is a low degree of supplier buyer interdependence. That means if you don't give buy from another and go forward. So that's what we discussed. And this is normally low value inputs. In case of product which is having multiple interaction required, highly developed product, like in the auto specific inputs of this one, so they will all have to be specifically developed. Like you see all the nowadays all kinds of auto component, you will understand lights are different, they make the body in the auto shop, the lights are coming from elsewhere, the computer systems coming from elsewhere, all these are separate systems are coming, because nowadays auto is becoming 50% of computers only. So it says that computer on wheel, that is the concept of Tesla and others. It is happening. So that is how there will be a strategic partnership with various companies to develop into the specialized type of product. There has to be huge amount of supplier and buyer interdependence. That is, both the supplier wants that they have to, this fellow has to succeed, then only I will succeed. And so there is the integration which is to a very high degrees. What is the supplier management practice in that case? In case of in case of arm's length relationship, which is single functional interface, which is very normal to us. First and foremost, this is the item what we have ordered, quality, price, time fixed and given. Price benchmarking is very important. All the what is the market, that is what we normally do. What do? We make the tabulation. This is L1, that is the price benchmarking. That's what we do. That regular process what we do, price benchmarking and place the order. And minimal assistance, there is no other thing what we do, and minimal assistance with them, that the standard product, you have to give your product and I use your product. That is the point. And in this case, supplier performance can be easily contracted for ex ante. That means in case there is any problem, you change with another supplier. These are some of the languages which is not very commonly utilized here. Contractual safeguards are sufficient to enforce agreement. In case you are not giving, we will cut your LD, we will enquest your bank guarantee, performance bank guarantee, all these kind of things. This is very simple contracts on the arm's length basis. On the strategic partnership, this is a multifunctional interface, engineering to engineering, manufacturing to manufacturing. That means in case something is not fitting, engineering, somebody is making this kind of change, so it will have a detailed interaction at all phases. Engineering, procurement, manufacturing, all levels they will have interaction. Quality, their quality, your quality are all integrated together in this case. Here the price benchmarking is not the major factor. Major factor is capability benchmarking. Whether this person is competent to handle this kind of complicated product on a sustained basis. Sustainability is the focus. Okay. Substantial assistant investment in interim knowledge and sharing routine is important. Supplier performance on non-contractable. That is, interwoven quality, responsiveness is important. There are self-enforcing agreement for optimal performance. Stock ownership, etc. What happens? Normally, Toyota has ownership of quite a few of their part ownership of their subsidiaries. So they are also in the board. So how the company works, they also are aware. They are an insider, not an outsider. So that becomes a scenario of part ownership and ensuring them as a successful. So we need to see how best we can handle on the project cases. Now we come to the project value chain. This is well understood as well that 35-40% material cost में जाता है. Another 30-35% goes in the construction cost. Engineering 10%, 5-10% depends on the type of complexities it goes. Few things on the operation and utilities and all that. So primarily it meaning the material deliveries and construction are the major contributor of the EPC project value chain. Now, what are the ground realities? That, as I was touching upon before, in the project company like ours, purchasers being the same, the concept of unique supplier is mostly unfounded. Though the project company as a project system, we are saying each project has a unique supplier, that is not true in case of a project company like ours. Hence, the supplier selection strategy has to be aligned with the ground realities, which may be different from single project reality. Now, it is no more a single project reality. It is a multiple portfolio management scenario. Hence, the supplier selection has to be particularly careful. Like if some supplier is performing well and if you try to give everything to them, and that fellow may not be able to supply. That's also a negative problem, which you need to understand their capability. And again, we have to partly go into the partnership understanding of that. Project being a sequential activity, and any deviation in one or more project prior activities affect the next, and the supply chain uncertainties or disruption affect the schedule directly. That means both sides. One is some of the places construction get delayed, you have all the material dumped, which is a net loss for the company. And there are other cases where you are having the supply is not coming in time, half of the material is ready, so next action, next item, even if it is available, you cannot make it. So that situation also happens. Like you have dumped all steel and you have not given any cement, or cement is very less supply, so nothing is happening, or sand is not there, like which is very common in rainy days. There is no availability of sand, and so the civil work, though all steel is available, civil work is not able to proceed. Or even in case of steel, civil work has the structural fabrication has been made, as the civil is not done, the structural work could not be done. Or some of the item which has to be sequentially erected, the bottom portion of that has not come, so the top portion is coming, it cannot help. So this situation is the supply disruptions, and the selection of the priorities and individual sequences of supplies governs the project success. Project strategy is to be aligned with the procurement strategy and contract strategy. That means, what is the project strategy? It does not always mean, in case of project company, the project strategy is not always finishing the project in time and cost. Sometimes the project strategy is to get the cash in time. So there the procurement strategy will be different than that of the project strategy. How is the contract placed? In case we are having all the upfront getting the cash before, so in case as on time cash is the king, so that is situation comes, then we supply and get the cash. And if it says that a lot of percentage of the money will not come till the project is completed, then probably cash getting objective is lost. Then we have to give as per the sequence and give. So we need to understand what is the specific strategy based on the pricing available, based on the objective of the specific project that we are going in. And then it has to be aligned with the procurement strategy. Project strategy and procurement strategy need to be perfectly aligned. Project change management is a very, very important thing. We discussed that all the projects undergo some change, and some increase, some decrease, all these things happen. Though change management and project progress monitoring situation has put the focus on the agility of the supply chain management. That means if something is required, some additional thing comes up, how quickly you can give it, how fast you can handle this change requirement, or how you have to suddenly reduce or increase. that is the challenge what is throws in the case of project supply chain. So the supply chain challenge is mostly with respect to handling the uncertainties, disruptions on an ongoing project to manage that it meets the project objective. What you are saying said actually it has a sequential activity. If for any reason the sequence is getting impacted, supply system should be agile, should be able to handle the situation accordingly. If something is coming up fast, you put it fast. If something is coming up delayed, you supply little delayed, so that your material is not affected based on the project strategy. If the project strategy is to supply everything at one go and get the cash, then you supply everything at one go irrespective of the project. So this has to be aligned, and it has to be managing as per the project strategy and actual progress of the project in the system. And wherever there is a change, the system should be agile enough to take up this change for profitable operation of the project.
Sir, I have a question here. Can I ask?
Bolo.
Sir, ये जो alignment of the strategy of the project, does the last person in the procurement or the stores guy, they get to know that this is the strategy? Is it to go slow or just in time or before time?
I am not sure whether the last person will at all need to know. The last person is to execute the operation of the project, operation of the specific things.
How will they do the operation, sir?
They will be doing the operation. You ask him to procure this, they will be procuring. So this is a matter which has to be primarily tackled at the project management and procurement management levels. Primarily to be handled. When this has to be procured is a thing which is to be triggered by the project management and not by the purchase department. Procurement as a process is not ending at purchase, and the purchase sometimes is a clerical activity, and that is not the focus where people need to go into the strategic decision. That is my belief. Project manager is the primary person who need to take the strategic decision on what is to be bought and when based on the project strategy, and then that has to be percolated.
So they will
at
only
the
raise
project.
they will raise the PO requests on whatever time,
and whatever time it is required, when it has to be supplied, they need to govern, because project profitability and project success is the project management's requirement, and they need to decide on the project strategy and align it with the procurement strategy, and for that they have to have an initial discussion. This is my procurement strategy, so accordingly it has to go. And when they will release the order and etc. is a matter of detail which they need to check up at the time of project when initiation itself.
So basically project has a control over it.
Obviously has to
so
be.
Even if procurement wants, they cannot streamline it, right?
No. The procurement need to be made partner of the specific project strategy. And once they remain a partner of the project strategy, nobody can work independently. That need to be made very clear. If anybody starts to work independently, then it is a sure recipe of failure for all cases.
Of course. Right, sir. Please continue.
Deepsika,
Sir.
Deepsika, this strategy planning comes under MRP, Material Requirement Planning.
Right.
Sarup sir rightly said that it's a strategic call of this project manager or project team. When this material is required, when this is planning is
Correct. Exactly.
Planning is given by the material. It is a concept of MRP, Materials Requirement Planning. It's governed by only the project manager and project team.
Correct. And then the supplier, then the procurement team becomes a partner to own it and execute it. Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Sunil sir.
Yeah.
Now let us conclude that one, because after 1 hour there is another beautiful program which is more beautiful than this.
No, you are not going anywhere. You are not going anywhere.
No, already time up, yaar. 15:36.
Deepika, let it go. Let it finish it first, then we'll discuss.
Let somebody
Okay.
I have a
further
question.
we
अरे
will
बाबा
discuss.
हमको क्वेश्चन तो करने दो, 2 सेकंड का क्वेश्चन है, आप लोग 2 मिनट इसी पे बिता दे रहे हो. मेरा
ठीक है,
क्वेश्चन
अरे
करो
ये
भाई
है,
करो करो
अभी
करो करो करो
प्रोक्यूरमेंट वाले को स्ट्रेटेजी पता रहता है क्या पहले से, मतलब प्रोक्यूरमेंट हेड को, आपको या भी किसी
देखो
का?
यार,
how
रहता
hey
है
Disika, this is not, I am not speaking about Disika, please forget it. We are making, I told at the very beginning, it is, we are taking example and this is an understanding of the entire system and not
Sure.
specific ways of operation on which we are doing or what we need to do better or we need to change something. That is not the point in this forum. This is a forum
I
of
agree.
understanding
I
the
agree.
system. So we are going into that. Okay. So let us
I agree.
continue. Otherwise, already my time is up.
Sarup
And
sir is refreshing the process. The Sarup
correct,
sir is refreshing the process.
correct.
Am I right, sir?
So, correct, correct. So
Yeah.
that
Continue,
is
sir, continue.
then we will then project wise people have to, don't confuse on our management and presently what you are doing, not doing, correct, not
Yes, yes,
correct.
yes,
It's
sir,
a
yes,
different matter. Okay, just leave that apart.
It is very nice session is going. Don't interrupt in between.
Okay, management. Now, what we are having is the what are the ground realities? Purchasers being the same, the concept. That's what I wrote that sequential, and we discussed about it. Okay. Now, in the past decade, companies are under tremendous pressure to keep the organization lean and they're forced to outsource all non-critical activity. Recently, what happened? I will give this. McNally Bharat is not able to pay anything to their salaries. Also, their project, their supply chain department has discussed. You are not even paying. Why don't you outsource the supply chain fully? Don't have any supply chain management and outsource it. So they have also thought about it, that along with the supplies they will be paying some commission for making this entire thing come. So this leaves more responsibility to purchase to act. So this is all possible organizational thinking people are making about it. How good bad is something, people are different. Hence effective supplier participation in becoming more and more critical for the organizational competitiveness. The supplier segmentation into strategic partners or quasi market relationship will define success of the supply chain management and the organization. How we are having our suppliers at our side, whether we need to go by the great Potter's system of the arm's length management or the strategic management, that will decide the success of the organization as a whole, because it is not all the time price alone, but sometimes delivery, meeting it time, all this we have to depend on the various suppliers. Hence the need is to have a proper mix of both arm's length relationship as well as strategic partnership for a company handling a portfolio. That is what I believe, that those who are having a portfolio handling, like your majority of the companies like L&T always has a sort of a both relationship continuing. There are some cases of strategic partnership, some cases of arm's length partnership, both continues. We always buy from them. So that is something very, very clear. Like in hydraulics, we always buy from Aton and we handle this. Now it happens for majority of the cases. All major procurement what we have done, say the nuclear submarine building on which we were part of, it was a strategic relation. This item will be brought by this item will be made by individual persons are specifically given that opportunity to develop, and they are the part of this entire process. Like that it happens. Now in case of projects, sometimes there are critical activities, multiple times we are buying, we have to give a strategic relationship. Somewhere we are having a regular item, we have to go for the arm's length relationship. So there has to be a mix. Okay. Now we again delve upon this on the project characteristics uncertainty, because primarily this is what we need to, the bane of the problem and also the advantage of the project is the uncertainty. So that's why all the people are employed. So now you never know what is going to happen. So sometimes the uncertainty evolves over time. Through planning process, uncertainty can be a combination of business opportunity and associated risk. In the previous discussion, we discussed that all this uncertainty comes, all these risks form the uncertainty. So it is a essential part and parcel of the project. Project supply chain, managing the business opportunity and associated risk. What are the critical factors? Sourcing from various geographical locations, or site fabrication or manufacturing, taking overall landscape in mind. Like in the present case, we are having lot of south based operation, so major manufacturing also we are given at south, so that the handling cost and the ODC handling, these kind of issues are reduced. So this is a critical thinking process what we need to make, that where we are sourcing for which project. It is not the cost alone. Geographical location so many times forms a major factor. May not remain static over the project duration, can change based on the changing ground realities, including change orders, scope management, schedule management issues, quality management issues, etc. etc. We give some order, this fellow does not perform in time, does not give quality, there are issues coming up. So then we change the suppliers and get it at a higher cost, lower time. All these kind of continuous decision we need to take. So that is the uncertainty. It remains, the suppliers may not be very trusted, and so sometimes there will be failures, and this uncertainty has to be handled on an ongoing process basis. So we need to have, how do we handle this uncertainty? Primary handle for handling the uncertainty is the information handle. We need to have continuously able to understand the project situation as well as the situation with the suppliers. This is supposed to be very easy nowadays, with the various information flow continuously being available. That is through mobile, through photos, through this one, other people going. This is much more improved scenario, but still project delays are a fact, which is for reasons for which things are very different. My views are different. How to tackle this world has evolved from different scenarios, so which is a different perspective. But information flow is our primary handle, and ability to use the information to take care of the uncertainty is the determinant factor, is the major determinant for making the supply chain move smoothly. Now you have the information, don't know how to use it, so it doesn't make sense. Okay, so it is all the time it happens. So we have a lot of information, don't know how to use it. Now here, this is the cost effectiveness versus responsiveness. We are just, I think Arnab mentioned a case that Dell is where he was mentioning the situation of manufacturing on the go. So which is something Dell has specialized, which is high responsiveness. It had initially started when the manufacturing, when the materials of the all components of the computer as brought and put on the ship, and on the ship is moving, the computers get assembled, and by the time it comes to the designated post, the designated port, the computers are assembled and it is delivered. So it is not that somewhere in assembling and they are then delivering, they are delivering and assembling. That situation Dell had come up to introduce the highest responsiveness. And Wärtsilä, the Walmart is what? Walmart is one of the classic case, the everyday low price. So their highest case is the cost is the lowest. That is their whole intent, that you will not get anything at a price lower than as it is in Walmart. That is their motto. So they make that process their own situations on that. That is mostly looking at the bulk purchase and selling bulk, and reducing the cost of distribution, cost of handling at all levels, and cutting down all the middlemans, all the retailer, distributor business, and thereby reducing the lowest cost. So here the cost is lowest, but they cannot change the product. They are buying in bulk. They are buying in, whereas Dell used to change the product. That means if you have any specification, you need a computer with 8 GB RAM, you need a computer with 6 GB RAM, they will change the RAM and they will make this Intel, this one, Qualcomm board, Intel board, they will change it accordingly and as you want. So they are responsive to that. In this case of Walmart, they are not responsive. They are having this particular thing available. at the cost which is the lowest in the market. So this is the supply chain cost and responsiveness effectiveness. Now, what do you want? We want responsiveness for the case of project. Also, you want the lowest cost to make it successful. So we have to go somewhere in between depending on the project strategies and the project situation with the handle of information. So this is what I explained, that there are two basic points. One is the lower effectiveness, another is responsiveness side. We need to attack these two and swing the scale from this low cost side to the high responsive side, or high responsive to low cost side, depending on the position of the project and uncertainties of the project what we encounter, keeping the handle of information in our hand. Same point. Projects are born and developed under high degree of uncertainty. Project may be planned with realistic target and assumption, and one can establish time schedule and cost estimate based on experience, knowledge, and available information. But the project develops continuously due to increased knowledge and insight that is owned through the planning process. Planning process may the people go on changing and make the plan accordingly. Therefore, uncertainty management process established in the front end have to be dynamic in addition to being proactive. But uncertainty management comes at a cost, and future opportunities and actions has to be weighed against historic commitments. The significance of uncertainty for a decision situation depends on the cost of reversing a commitment once made, and the volatility of the environment and the sensitivity of the benefit occurs in the unpredicted. So this is written on little more flowery language. Definitely it portrays the things clearly. It makes the same thing. Whenever you become the more significantly your uncertainty management you try to become much more responsive, at that point of time probably you will get little more cost, and also you may encounter the situations of the suppliers becoming fed up with you, that this fellow orders something and after some time says, no, you have the order, you give me, and after that we will tell you when it is to be given. Then otherwise you change the order to something else. So what is the impact of that? Because that whole impact also need to be understood. You order to get something to be given, like in my classic case, just one second. Continuous speaking needs some water. Now, in the classic case, we had ordered one lift to be supplied 1 year before, and now for 1 year we are deciding on the vastu of the lift, and we did not buy it. And now we wanted that now let the lift come. This fellow is saying that no. Now the price has increased. Now we were managing uncertainty. Now the ball has been now put in this supply chain to handle the uncertainty. What they will do? They have to handle it. So in all the time, supply chain is coming up as a impact of the uncertainty of the project. They are continuously facing it, and they have to face it as a process. This uncertainty is a part and parcel of this one. Just 1 second. What is the situation of a normal project manager when you take the job? This uncertainty management, this is what we expect, that it will probably happen good and probably happen bad. That it will not come in time, come in cost, but the ballpark scenario is that the middle portion is time and cost. That situation is a one possibility. That project is uncertain, so we take a bell curve. Bell curve PDG has told again long time before, so people must have understood by the time the bell curve. So just this particular bell curve is something of the showing the uncertainty of the it can be either in this side, either cost or time or whatever. So either on time wise it may be here, it may say let us take time, it will end quickly, or it will become taking more time than this. There is an option. What is the accountant's view? It comes up very, very clearly. Accountant's requirement is there is only one date. So that is, it starts, the accountant bell curve is like this. Only a very narrow one. But what is the management we should do? It says we must manage taking the basic thing in this site, so that the bad luck, even if it happens, what it's showing in this space, it will not leave from the median basic direction. So all the time, the entire supply chain management requirement for the project need to be planned with a added state of good management. That is, it has to reach little before, so that the project schedule dates for us is not impacted. So
So
all
what
the
is the
time,
meaning of Monte Carlo scenario?
that is this whole bell curve is Monte Carlo scenario is like that. No, as a concept, that's a Monte Carlo. That is the distribution. It's a normal distribution. What it says is the Monte Carlo distribution. That is what is bell curve.
You
Bell
mean
curve
normal
is a
distribution?
result of normal Monte Carlo scenario.
Standard
Standard
distribution.
normal distribution. That's about
Okay.
it. Huh? So what is supposed to be done is we need to always plan ahead in this line. That we business scenario, we need to plan little ahead, eliminate states of serious bad luck. This is how the supply chain also need to be built up, so that always we plan to supply little ahead, so that time problem we don't come up with, and we get into this not exactly at the last moment, little before, so that we don't get hit by the time delays of the project. Okay. Project uncertainty in the form of business opportunity, exploitation, risk management, uncertainty acceptance, and uncertainty transfer is a standard process. We discussed in the risk management this one. All the time, uncertainty management and risk management is the same thing. So project business is a risk business. That is what that is the professional views. Project business is a risk business. How much we are able to handle the risk is the success of the project. Okay. Supply chain is to be made a party to the risk reward scenario of the project uncertainty, to cap the downside risk, and also give away benefits if done in the project boundaries of time, cost, and quality. So many times it means that it is a very common process. There is a thing like project completion bonus, which is given to the suppliers also. These are larger companies on thousands of crores of project. When it happens, if it is completed, all the things has been done on time, so suppliers are also party to get a bonus. That how does they go? Does they get it? They get credited in their account. All this process exists. Now, how far we are able to use it and not use it, take it, we are at a very low end scale. So this is not that much relevant to the extent of the supply chain internally, that is who are procuring and also making, manufacturing, giving that one. They are also part of the risk reward scenario of the project uncertainty. That becomes a scenario to be made. Multi-party risk reward transfer process is critical to cap the downside risk. That means in any case, project is dependent on so many thousand players. That is from the all the end, as we told in the first beginning, there is a line 1 supplier, tier 2 supplier, then tier 1 supplier, then the manufacturer, then the customer, then the end user. So project end is up to the end user, that is the supply chain. Now all the supply chain, if they are party to the risk reward as far as possible, then the downside risk is reduced. So everybody is interested to complete that. So actually speaking, in the project scenario or in any scenario, in the supply chain, the penal actions like your making the deducting the LD does not impact much. But if a bonus clause is there, then that helps much more in getting the supplies in time. So because everybody will be fighting to get the bonus. So that is one of the reason that uncertainty management principle for this one is to give the project success bonus to all. so that they are all ready to buy this bonus and get into that. So the multi-party risk reward transfer process. That means risk transfer means you take LD, all that. In any case, the risk is capped at the LD levels. So reward process need to be kicked in. That is the thinking. To achieve the project success, project strategy needs to be aligned with the contract strategy. We discussed that. Strategies of the procurement can be as follows. Well-defined whats and hows lead to risk-reducing strategies, well suited for securing delivery in accordance with the promise. Fixed price type of strategies, lump sum with strong risk transfer motivation between actors is characteristics. That is what we normally do. Fixed price strategy, lump sum strategy. That means the whole thing is a lump sum price. You complete this and you give the price, so that in between there is no risk coming up in between. So lump sum order, complete lump sum. That is the LSTK concept also came from the basic risk transfer LSTK or EPC concept came in the risk transfer scenario. That's what we discussed on my previous discussion. Who were present, we have seen that. Less defined is what and how may open up for creativity and utilizing the full potential of the project supply chain, especially in opportunity seeking context. This is less defined project strategy for creativity and utilizing full potential of the project supply chain. Once you are making this kind of a fixed price lump sum strategies, the creativity doesn't open up. What exactly, how you can further reduce the cost? That's what he told you can reduce the cost to 30% as a challenge given to all. How you can be do. Okay, value enhancement strategies will have to utilize risk reduction and opportunity seeking strategies targeted in parts and phases of the project. Value enhancement strategy is mostly the your partnership strategies. That has to utilize the risk reduction and opportunity seeking strategy. Risk reduction strategy is what? You make the arm's length. If that fellow is not performing, you buy from another fellow. That is, you reduce your risk. And opportunity seeking, okay, whoever is L1, you give that, okay, now today that other fellow has told, okay, you have placed order at 100 rupees, I will give you at 99 rupees. Well, you cancel that order and give it to that fellow. That is the opportunity seeking strategy. So that strategies do not evolve with the value enhancement strategy. So then you do not know what quality is coming. Is some Chinese material or some Ukrainian material is coming as against the Japanese material, all this or the German material, all these issues come in picture. So that people need to look at. So these strategies of procurement, all these processes are possible. We need to evaluate and suitably take the action depending on the project situation and the project need in that particular case. Okay. The concept is popularized to focus on demand based on the end requirement. Okay, the concept of alignment of supplies to match the project demand. This is what we told project. If something is in the beginning also we discussed the same issue. Project sometimes goes fast and slow, and the supply has to reach just in time considering the project progress. Okay, this entails the great amount of information flow. That's what we told. The main handle of the entire thing is the information flow to all stakeholders, so that every actor in the supply chain, from from raw material supplier, warehouses, manufacturer, logistic providers, are informed about each stage of development of project, can work in tandem to ensure that the supplies are reached exactly when the need arises. So there the information flow to all actors in this stage is very, very important. This information flow will enable project planners to manage the uncertainties in time and remove the constraint not only from the project planning stage, but also help in reducing unnecessary inventory, logistic costs, etc., and can use the uncertainty to turn into business opportunity. How the uncertainty can become a business opportunity? We do not unnecessarily bring in lot of material in the site, incurring the storage cost, incurring the cash blockage cost, that cash is held up, no, whenever you are getting the material. So it is a business opportunity that you do not have the material stacked when it is not necessary. Such approach requires a very detailed relational approach with the supply chain actors, quite beyond the arm's length approach. Now, in one of the classic case, I just remembered, I thought I will put it. In my previous, I was in Walchand Nagar, no? So that particular company, we had a about 1,000 crore project at TNEB, that is Tamil Nadu Electricity Board. There was 15 power plants to be made. Now, the supply chain were very fast and effective. I was, when I joined, this order was already taken and this point was going on. I was not looking into that. But only classic supply chain mistake that has been done came into my notice after long after when I joined into this, came into the supply chain area of this company. That is what they have done is the procurement people have smartly negotiated with Siemens for all the 15 turbines. And the 15 turbines, Siemens were very much ready and they have given a good discount and all that. But the requirement is this has to come immediately. You have to take it in 1 year's time. Siemens will deliver. So Siemens delivered as it is in the 15 turbines in 1 year time. But we don't know where to keep it. The project, the situation is that this it will take 5 years at least the site to become available and to make it suitable for erection, because there are various stages on that, demolition of certain areas, then rebuilding a particular thing. But supply chain had made a beautiful cost, and which is much more than this much lower than the original cost estimate, and all the material has come up. This entire thing was put into the bonded warehouse, and we went on paying lot of money just to keep it, because that's a very wrong supply chain decision that has been taken, and for which the company ultimately suffered. Now this is a big problem, that whether to take the cost advantage or to take the supply chain coming one after the other over 5-year period. So that is a question all the time will need to be understood, ascertained, uncertainties needs to be understood and handled. This cost and delay in the MNRE benefits were not available because the whole calculation was based on MNRE benefits. They used to give for supplying this particular, this is a waste to gas system, so MNRE benefits were available. We are not able to get the MNRE benefits because as we pay the import duty, and this will be paid only when this is erected. So after 1 year, and MNRE benefit is not, there is a lot of complications. So huge loss the company incurred for saving the purchase cost, which led to loss in the entire project chain. Is a classic case where the demand management was overlooked, resulting in huge loss to the company. So we need to think very much and look to the demand management scenario of the project, that is when it is needed, before we make the supply. And the cost benefit and the uncertainties of actual progress of the project is a reality which needs to be kept in mind before buying the material just like that. Okay, demand chain concept coupled with the cash flow of project. So there are two concepts what you told. So far we have explained, we have not looked into the other major constraint of the project that may suffer is the cash flow. How does the supply chain actors tackle the uncertainties of cash flow? If there is no money on the project coming in, how do you expect to buy? You are having a very cost effective solution. You can buy today every material, but you don't have the money. The company is not going to pay you unless it is the project is ready. The client is not going to pay. What do? So you need to manage see the cash flow, and not at your wish of the best price. L1 price is not really the governing factor. while these are standard financial processes like hedging on various issues, these are all hedging processes are done, all these are done. This is latter stage, but not normally, you cannot do it here. In our type of operations, we are far off from hedging this. If something happens, we hedge this against this. So that's a very difficult process. Even I am not very clear about all these, how hedgings are done. But in the company that I handled, we have never handled it. I know this is done at L&T at certain levels, but there are big experts who are handling on all this, primarily on the finance domain. The entails the great amount of information flow. As I told, logistic providers, everything, that's what the same thing enables to is primarily, it is saying the same thing. This approach requires a detailed relational approach with supply chain actors quite beyond the arm's length approach. That's what we basically explained, the same thing. Demand chain concept, you need to look at the information, see when the demand is coming, ensure the supply is given at the time when the requirement is there, keep everybody posted on the system from the manufacturer, initial manufacturer, to the product suppliers, and ultimately the manufacturing process, everybody, that we need when, and accordingly you supply. So that's about it. So that's about the basic on the manufacturing and the supplier system. Then I am discussing on the logistic management system, which is a very important part of the supply chain process, which plans, implement, and controls efficient, effective flow. These are the definitions of the Council of Logistic Management. Okay. This is point to point, origin to point of consumption to meet the customer requirement. Logistic has a demand chain and the supply chain side. As I first in the beginning we told, there is a push side and the pull side. So logistics happens both either the push basis or on the pull basis. Both sides it will work. Now the last paragraph is important. The term construction logistics chain is introduced by Pakhala et al. 1997 as pertaining to the supplier network consisting of contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers. The construction logistics chain is now takes into account the contractors and subcontractors. This is the first time the construction logistics chain concept has made. Earlier, logistic was primarily meaning your making of the handling by the trucks and or the ships or air, whatever, handling by the transport mechanisms and putting. Now this construction logistic chain concept has come, which is having contractors and subcontractors and suppliers, all the three are put in place. Because in any case, in any construction system, there are contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers, and not the primary logistics with the logistic providers. So this focus is pertaining with the supplier and contractor network as an aspect brought forward with the total quality movement of the 80s. The basis is extremely integrated logistic management within the construction project industry. Construction project industry has got somebody manufacturing, somebody fabricating, somebody supplying something, some other body erecting. So there has to be the erection contractor has to be fed by the logistic vendor, and logistic vendor has to get supported by the fabrication vendor. Then the fabrication vendor has to also have the support of the logistic vendor who will be handling the raw material, like that. Say logistic a structure or a vessel is coming and putting into that place. Like if the, say for example, why it becomes very, very critical, say in the case of say we had in case of the project what we handled at Rajamundry, the main steam turbine comes in from the port, and it has to be coming from port at Kakinada. From Kakinada port to Rajamundry, the entire logistic planning was a big issue, but it was handled by it's a very big multi-axle vessels that has to carry. But after it comes in, it has to be immediately put on the base, so that the base has to be made ready to that extent, and the ramp to put it in. So the gas turbine also came. that for making the gas turbine, that the construction, there has to be 3-4 contractors to be put in place for making this transjack system, making the your entire pathway to put the gas turbine in the right place, or the steam turbine base has to be made in the right place. All these issues have to be pre-planned between multiple vendors, and that has to be going right across to the logistics who will be bringing in the by the ship and then coming to this. Even if there is a 15 days delay, the storage of the item at the port will incur a lot of cost. Up beyond 15 days, there is a lot of cost. So we need to organize all the vendors so that the cost is controlled. So the contractor and subcontractor and supplier, this network of construction logistic chain is something which is understood but formally brought in only in 1997 to make this as a on your academic basis, but people are doing it for a long time. Now, what is integrated logistic management view? There is a vendors, then it is a very simple view, what you can understand. From the vendors, there is a transportation, then you have to warehouse, then you have to transport again to the factory, then transport to the warehouse, then again from warehouse to transport, then transport to the customers. So this is a very standard logistic process what everybody understands. Okay. Now, it is often felt that logistic, some noise is coming. It is often felt that logistic is not a core capability of EPC organizations, and logistic operation is entrusted with the lead logistic providers. That is a process what people are making it. I think those who are aware in the procurement side, people will understand 1PL, 2PL, 3PL, 4PL systems. This is very, very commonly understood. 3PL or 4PL provider, you see, 1PL is the first party, 2PL is the second party, 3PL is the third party, 4PL is the fourth party provider. That is what it means, logistic service provider. So this is commonly utilized terminology in the logistics system. The 4PL vendors operate as partner of EPC project organization to advise and control the entire logistic operation. So I think on that project, with Rajamundry at that project, what we did, our for all practical purposes, the 4PL vendor was put as DN Boxi. They were the 4PL vendor for this one. So they handled the entire process. They are in good touch with all of us from the project side and concluded on all this. For this is a very large scale project. So that had to be handled that way. This is integration and demand for a smooth operation of the project. The utilization of the 4PL provider will also depend on the scale of operation, that's what I told, as well as the risk perception of leakage of data to supplier base. So many times the manufacturing organization do not accept a 4PL provider because the supplier data gets leaked and some other fellow can come in for manufacturing the same item when these are high profit, low volume manufacturing. So that becomes a secrecy issue for putting the 4PL vendor. 4PL vendors goes into the entire detail of the entire cycle of operation from the beginning of the procurement to the end customer. Okay. Now, we have basically come to the conclusion about this session. We have taken too much of time. The scope of supply chains involve two other major items: demobilization of plant and equipment, including container office, and disposal of scrap to guest base value. Nobody thinks about it. This is a project's job. This is also a supply chain job for a project company. So this is where the supply chain matter ends. Demobilization of all P&M, plant and machinery or plant and equipment, whatever you say, and container offices, all these kind of things, and disposal of scraps. Before demobilizing, maintenance of all plant and equipment to keep it in good order, is a major and critical challenge. This is not taken as a supply chain activity in many organizations though. The scrap disposal is a continuous issue in all organizations. Scrap value is never as per expectation of finance department. Hence, also utilization of 4PL providers may be considered. 4PL provider होने से क्या है? That fellow decides on the total cost. They also take the scrap. In any case, we will be fighting over on the scrap, but the entire supply transportation handled by this fellow. This fellow takes the scrap and handles. That's the one concept. The financial and technical and organizational capability and experience and trustworthiness of the 4PL vendors are critical before looking into one, which is a very, very important thing. There are vendors are available. Mahindra Logistics gives that. Quite a few vendors. All Cargo gives that. There are quite a few management logistics company gives this kind of things. So, what are the other issues to look out for? This change in law. Logistics governing total cost. Change in law is very, very important. As on time, we should not look into these basic points of change in law. Tax, duty, and specific responsibility that is going on changing. Now we are saying there is an embargo on Chinese item. There is a stoppage of carbon. Theoretically, there was stoppage of carbon black plant. So there is cess. All these kind of things have happened. In North America, pollution control के लिए they have stopped the carbon black plants. Now there is a lot of imposition of cess. All these issues are changing in law, which impacts the supply chain management. People need to always look forward to that, look into and remain abreast about it. Then logistics governing the ODC handling is a major issue. ODC is over-dimensional cargo. For anybody who is not very clear, for ODC is handling is a major issue for cost impact on this. Vendor evaluation as a continuous process and backbone supply chain system, continuous feedback loop to accept and act. It's a change scenario. That's what we told already. Now, all this goes into ultimately the project management maturity levels. So, which is basically CMM level 1, level 2, level 3, and project management CMM level 3 only people have gone. Now, those who are aware about the quality management system, people will know that CMM level 5 is something that is 1 in a million question of defect. That is the scenario. CMM level 5. Now, project management defects are much more. So, here ultimately it looks there is a maturity model which is a matter which is established at the topmost level of education. But we are far away from understanding that. And even I am not a correct party. We only know very, very limited way on this matter. There's a maturity model that how much we are going into the and we can go only up to level 3 as on time. We are not even in a position to discuss about the maturity model as such. Thank you. So we ended. Good relief. So any questions you can give me, because now there is another session going on.
Sir, that session is ending in 10 minutes time. I don't think we'll be able to make it. Can I request all the attendees to kindly take the feedback form? There is also a training effectiveness that we are trying to measure and find out some possibility of checking the ROI of the trainings that we are doing. I can request all the attendees to kindly take the feedback form. BK sir, do you have anything to add to this? BK sir, Sunil sir, do you have anything to add to this?
And Sarup sir has already explained everything.
Right, sir.
Sunil,
But
this is a
Sarup sir,
theoretical
I need to
understanding.
ask one question. Can you kindly elaborate this quasi marketing?
Which one?
Quasi marketing, quasi market.
Quasi marketing.
Quasi market situation.
What is
Quasi
that?
market means
Yeah.
you see that how the
1 minute,
mostly
sir. One more session is going, and just to stop this first one. Yes, sir.
you see, quasi market means it is not it is a quasi market scenario. And it means that you go to a shop and you buy this and buy that. Like that, you go to a go to for buying a jean pants. You try from Levi's, you try from other companies and buy it. So you go to the market and buy from another one. Like that, you quasi market scenario. That is, you go and choose from the other many available alternatives and buy one. That is what is the quasi market scenario. Like
Okay,
your
okay.
fish market, you go, you have many fish, you take one.
Okay.
You don't like that fish fellow is taking more money, you ask another fish market fellow, like that.
It's like a armlet model of business
It is
supplier.
online only, cause
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
स्वरूप साहब,
हाँ राव जी,
सर ये 30% डिडक्शन के लिए बोले क्या बोला आपने? हाउ टू रिड्यूस द कॉस्ट? एक छोटा सा टिप कैसे करना है?
Acha. That is primarily meant that discussion was. I thought everybody has forgotten that particular point.
No, I have not forgotten.
Hello.
I have one more question after this.
अच्छा.
You see, this entire process of manufacturing presently.
अपनी पढ़ी छे. कल के परसों पढ़ी छे अभी.
Raju.
Sir, please. Voice is coming, please.
Okay.
This is very important. I want to know.
Yeah. The point what is presently entire manufacturing process is basically reducing manufacturing process. That means you buy some of the item, cut from something, weld into something, and then you make that process. So you waste to the extent of 40 to 50% of the material in the entire process of manufacturing or fabrication. Yes or no?
Exactly, but at the same time, if you do like that, then there will be any compromising the quality in that?
No. That is what is the normal process. No, I am going on explaining. So normal process of manufacturing is a reducing manufacturing process, which is called a reducing manufacturing process.
Okay.
There is a new process has come up, which is called additive manufacturing process.
Okay.
Have you heard about it? Any of you?
Yeah.
What is that? Anybody? The additive manufacturing process is something wherein you make the item which is hello.
Yes, sir.
I think I can show you some of the presentation on the additive manufacturing process. One point, there is no wastage. That means you add the material and you put it to make it. That is how presently just a second, let me open some of this on the
Mr. Now mute.
I think I can go to the presentation mode, na?
Yes.
Okay, present now your entire screen. Okay. No, sorry. Now, this is 3D printing system. On the 3D printing system, see, all these kind of materials are complex materials are getting manufactured on the 3D printers without wastage of many material. So you first design and your 3D printing comes and manufactures exactly the item we need. There is no question of any wastage. So that is called additive manufacturing. Okay. So from the case of, if you have to manufacture any of this item by how much material you need to waste. Now, if you have to just make by 3D printing, what is the wastage? Hardly anything. Deposition modeling. Those are the ways which has come up by reducing the wastage and the cost. Just one of the process I told.
Rao sir, any more question?
सर खरी सर जो लास्ट में बोला था ना सर जो वो सप्लाई चेन में जो है so can you show that last slide sir? In that one point I'm agreeing that the selling of the scrap and other materials and taking the
this one or this
the last one
you are able to see my screen now?
Pardon?
You are able to see my screen or not?
No.
No. Okay. This one?
Last slide, sir.
You are saying
ends.
This one?
The demobilization of the plant and the project, the scopes, supply chain involves in two major items. That is demobilization of all plant equipment, including container and office, etc. Sir, इसमें जो demobilization of plant and equipment including, how come the purchase department will come into the picture?
It is logistic department which comes in play. You see, supply chain doesn't mean purchase. I have first and foremost explained.
You mean to say that this logistics?
The logistics portion that is also part of the supply chain.
Yeah. No, this disposal of scraps and all that definitely is required. And then before demobilization, maintenance of all that is also required. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. It's good presentation.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Escape.
Anybody has any more questions?
No, thank you. So we close.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Swaroop sir. Thanks a lot for sharing your knowledge with us, and request everybody to kindly take down the link for submitting the feedback form. Thank you, everybody. We'll close the session now.
Thank you. Thank you, Dikshita. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.